Hello everyone, welcome to this video explaining our lesson today, which is analysing the WAGOLL. Our task today is going to be to find all the different features that we need to include in a persuasive letter, which is going to be our end point of this English unit that we're studying at the moment. So we should have seen the video that I sent round of me reading the book. We should have done a little bit of prediction. Now we're moving into thinking about our final part of this unit. So we're going to be writing a persuasive letter. We're going to build up a couple of parts. We're going to collect some content, looking at different things and different features of a letter and a persuasive letter, starting with this lesson today. So what I've done is I've written a WAGOLL, what a good one looks like, of a persuasive letter, and I've written to Mrs. Proctor asking her to get rid of the school uniform. Okay, so I've included some different techniques in there and different things, and some of which is what we're going to look at today. So your task today is to look at this checklist that we have at the top, okay, and find them within the WAGOLL, within the letter. So on our checklist, we've got to use capital letters, full stops, question marks, and exclamation marks. We have coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. We have used modal verbs, which might be something that's new to you. We've got used relative clauses, which I believe you've been introduced to already. We have used rhetorical questions, and lastly, we need to select precise vocabulary to match the level of formality. And what I mean by that is to match the piece of writing that we're doing. So when we're writing a persuasive letter, we're going to be writing formally, not as if we're writing to one of our friends where we're using slang and things like that. We're trying to be as formal and as proper as possible to convey our message, to deliver our message really clearly and persuade the person we're writing to. So your task, okay, is to look at this checklist, and if you notice, each one is colour-coded. Now, if you print it off in black and white, you can create your own colours, but each one has to have a different colour. So the first one I've got, I'm not going to explain what capital letters and full stops are to you guys, and exclamation marks, question marks, because you should already know that, and hopefully you do. But what I'd like you to do is, for example, if we're looking at capital letter and full stop, question marks and exclamation marks, we need to find one example of each. Okay, just one example. So if I get my red pen up, in fact I'm going to get my red highlighter up, make it a little bit clearer. Capital letters, really easy one, they're throughout, but I could just do a little red bit there. Full stops, if I look at the end of that sentence, I've got one there. And lastly, well, not lastly, I've got a question mark, so what I need to do is have a read through and find question mark. I'm not going to show you where that one is because that might give it away, and exclamation mark, so on and so forth. The next one, coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. Again, you should already know those things from previous years and from what you've already been taught this year to find those coordinated subordinated conjunctions. If you I'm not sure what between the two, what they are, what's a coordinating conjunction, what's a subordinating one, then just have a quick look online. If you search that, you'll get some examples, and then you can have a read through and try and find them. Okay, I'll give you a really easy one, which I had already found. It's here, which is and. Okay, super easy one. That's a coordinating conjunction. Okay, and again, it's taken off my other red ones, but it doesn't matter. Oh, in fact, actually, I didn't need that one to be red, did I? I needed it to be green. There you go, I made it green. Okay, see, self-correcting as we go along, that's what we need to do. The next one then, modal verb. So this might be something that's new to you. So a modal verb, okay, describes the degree of possibility, okay? How likely is it to happen? All right, now I know this might be new to you, but I want you to just think about that explanation. If you need to rewind to that, you can do. I'll just say it again anyway. So degree of possibility. How likely is something going to happen? Is it going to happen for certain? Okay, so it is going to happen, or is it likely not to happen? It might happen. Okay, so when we're talking about persuading someone, we want to try and be as definitive as possible. We want to say it is going to happen, and think about those kind of words that we could use to do that. So for instance, I've got an example here, so I need to get my blue highlighter this time, so I'm looking for modal verbs. If I read the first line, having been a pupil of East Morton Primary School for several years, I feel it is my duty to relate the feelings of your pupils towards wearing a school uniform. So I'm going to highlight this word is, okay, in blue, because what I'm saying is I feel it is. I'm not saying I feel it might be, or it should be, or it could be. I'm saying it is my duty to relate the feelings of your pupils towards wearing a school uniform, okay? So that's looking at modal verbs. I want you to see how many of those you can find. They're not, just so we don't create a misconception, is a modal verb, but it's not the only one in here, all right? So have a look through. Doesn't matter if you get them wrong, we're just starting to see if we can find these features and play around with them a little bit. The next one we're going to look at is relative clauses. So relative clauses are used to give additional information about a noun, about a thing. Okay, so the one that I've got as an example is in this one here, whose job it is. That is the clause, okay? Just be careful, the conjunction is whose, okay? It's actually a subordinating conjunction, but the entire thing there, whose job it is to represent the student, so I'll just expand it, that is the clause, the entire thing that starts with that conjunction at the beginning. Okay, so because the reason why is I've got, as the school council are an elected body whose job it is to represent the students, there can be no doubt you must take heed of any information they discover. Okay, so what I'm saying there is, as the school council are an elected body, okay, whose job it is to represent the student, okay, I'm giving that additional information about the school council. What is it that they do? Okay, and actually, hopefully you will recognise that that's parenthesis as well. I've embedded it in there to give additional information, but just being a little bit more specific about what kind of additional information I'm giving. Well, it's a relative clause. Okay, and then this one here, use rhetorical questions. This is something that you should have looked at in year 4. Obviously, having a bit of a topsy-turvy year with lockdowns and things like that may have slipped by, but I'm not going to show you where it is in here, because there's only one. The first thing is it's a question. So thinking about what punctuation should it end with. Fairly self-explanatory, huh? But the part of it being a rhetorical question is one that shouldn't need to be answered because it is so obvious is the answer. Okay? It's like asking me, do I like pizza? That is a rhetorical question because yes, I absolutely love pizza. It's so obvious. Okay? Or one that's a favourite amongst some of the students is, does Mr. Shepherd like mini cheddars? Yes, I love mini cheddars, it's an obvious answer. Everybody knows it. Does it need to be asked? Well, yes, but it doesn't need an answer. Okay, so try and find the rhetorical question that's in here, that's asking it's asking a question that has an obvious answer. Okay, and lastly, select precise vocabulary to match the level of formality. So we are always banging on about, as teachers, using precise language. Okay, we don't want to necessarily say it's a nice day. We want to be really precise with our language. Okay, what does nice really mean? It's very vague, it's very broad. We want to be precise with it. Okay, so there are loads of bits in here. Again, I'm not going to show you any because you need to find them. Okay, and using, for this instance, it's purple. There might be 1 or 2 words that you don't actually understand. So thinking about our reading skills, what do we go and do if we don't understand a word? Well, we go and find the answer. We'll go and find the definition, should I say. We look in a dictionary, okay, and really have a search. And you might want to, if you are able to print this off, or just on a black piece of paper, make note of those and keep those, because when it comes to our final piece, you can magpie, which means pick out those words, okay? Take out those words and use them within your own work. So that's your task for today. Looking through the WAGOLL, highlighting the different features that are in there, okay? And then hopefully that starts to give you a picture of what a persuasive letter looks like. As usual, if you have any issues, any questions, put them on Teams or email me and I'll try and get back to you as quick as possible. Hopefully you get on okay with that, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.